This is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2. Welcome to week 17, Monday. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. Keep in mind your warm-up is due on week 19 Friday, so that's exactly like 2 weeks from actually, I shouldn't say 2 weeks from this week. It's more like 2 weeks from last Friday. So really, you have like less than 2 weeks at this point. And so if we take a look at where we are, today is the 9th, which is your week 17. Next week is week 19 or 18, and the one after that is week 19. Your final is going to be on week 20th, and I will see you guys on the 3rd period for June 6th, which is right here at 7:45 in the morning. Your final is going to be 2 hours. It's a common district final, and it's not like you guys have never taken this before. It's the same one oh, excuse me, that you've taken in geometry and algebra 2. All 13 high schools will have the same test. It is a highly secure test. Your answers will be in the form of multiple choice questions for your response and then multiple select, which means there's more than 2 right answers. If you only have 1 right answer and it's a multiple select, you will get it wrong. You have to literally highlight and bubble in all the right answers. The computer will be grading it. When you guys walk into this class on that Monday at 7:45 in the morning, your backpack needs to be alongside the walls. There's no cell phone or iWatches. And just keep in mind your safety grade is 75%, and there is no curve on the test, on the final, or in this class. Your curve is that 5 out of 10. That you get if you don't show up. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So this is week 17. Next week and week 19, we're going to start studying for the study guide review. Your study guide will be very similar to the actual test, and then you guys will take this on Monday, week 20th at 7:45 in the morning. So what can you use on the test for the day of the test? There are several things that you can have on that day when you guys do show up. First one that you can have is a TI-84 calculator. That's totally fine. I will be giving that to you guys. Another one is going to be your Scantron. A number 2 pencil. Gentlemen, can you stop talking when I go over this, please? Shh, thank you. You can have a bottle of water, but it needs to be underneath your desk. And of course, I'll give you guys an assigned test book. You're going to have a assigned number to it. You can write in the test book. There's no scratch papers, no dry erase markers. You can't use your desk. You don't have to show work if you don't want to. That's entirely up to you. But you can write in your test book. Keep your answer Scantron clean, because if you drool on it or you have like tuckies on it or something, and the computer doesn't pick up your answers, then I wouldn't know because I'm not grading it. So keep your answer sheet clean. There is a formula sheet that's inside your book. You can write inside the book. No notes, electronic, phone, cannot phone a friend, unfortunately. And that's it. So with the last 2 weeks of class, keep in mind that every week you guys have 3 grades going into your grade book. It's out of 5 to 10. And again, if you don't turn anything in for me, there's nothing for me to grade. And hopefully you guys have been seeing that you guys get little check marks every single week for your efforts in class. And so if you have no check mark, but you show up regularly, you get a 55%. But you know, there's nothing for me to grade if you don't turn these in. So just keep that in mind. And if you're getting everything up here, that means you're doing everything, everything's completed, and you're pretty much good to go. Yeah. All right. So if you guys take a look at your YouTube channel, it's still not too late for you guys to turn things in, obviously. The last day for you to turn anything in, and I want to make sure I talk a little bit about this so that way you guys are aware of when is the very last day to turn things in. Okay, so last day to turn in work. And what work am I talking about? The work that I'm talking about is like your Math Excel assessment, which is every single Wednesday, right? You have that since week 1. Another one is your Math Excel practice, and you have that every week. Okay. The last one is any hard copies of the assignments that you have, like your guided notes, your activities that I give you guys in class, or basically anything that you have from watching the videos. The very last day for you guys to do any of that, because, you know, I don't really want you guys to give that to me after we're done with this class or during summer, because I won't be here. Let me move this up a little bit. And keep in mind, anything that is late, there is a 10 to 40% penalty or deduction. depending on how late it actually is. So for you guys, I am thinking that since your final is going to be on that Monday, the last day for you to turn anything in is going to be that Thursday. So it is June 2nd, which is a Thursday, and at 2:25 p.m. Okay. And I know you're like, well, that's kind of weird. Why not that Friday? And I always have students that ask me this because Friday is my first and second final. So that day, I'm just gonna be focusing on that final. Okay. So for you guys, last day to turn anything in is that June 2nd. So just keep that in mind. And again, your goal is to get to that 75%. So in case you don't pass the final, it cushions your failing the final a little bit, is my opinion. Okay. All right, so with that said, if you guys go to your YouTube channel for this, you should have 76 videos. So everything that was given to you guys last week for week 16 Friday is right here. So today's week 17 Monday, everything we have is on that YouTube channel. And it's important that you guys don't wait for the very end. And if you don't want to retake this class again, I will highly suggest that if you're in this class, just get to that 75%. So that way you pass this class for sure, okay? All right, so last class, what did we do? We started our notes with exponents. We went over these ones right here. We definitely use our TI-84 calculators to make sure we know how to use them and whatnot. I showed you guys how to find logs using your calculator and ln, which are the two that we talked about. And then we talked about the reversal of properties of logs, and we did this that day. And so today, we are going to continue on with this, and let's start off with you will need a TI-84 calculator. I have a quiz for you guys to work on today, and so come on up and grab that TI-84 calculator. I know some of you guys are a little bit shy, and if you're like, I don't need one, I'm not going to use it. Well, on the final exam, it is expected that you know how to use it because that's what your question is going to be on. And also, you're going to need to grab a colored paper because you're going to do that with your quizzes. And I'm sorry I didn't get you guys earlier, so come on up and grab a colored paper with your quizzes as well. There's different colors, so feel free to take whichever color you want. So you definitely need the TI-84 calculator on the quizzes because it's expected that you have that to use. All right, so with your guided notes, please turn over to this page right here where it says Day 9 Properties of Logarithms. And we're going to get started on this one here. And again, you'll need your calculator because you can't really do this without it. Unless you have like a TI-84 just implanted in your head, which sometimes I'm like, that would be so awesome. I don't have to grab a TI-84 calculator. It's just like implanted in my brain. Who knows, maybe 10 years from now, they can actually do that. And you'll just have an embedded TI-84 in your head. All right, so let's start off with number 1. So with number 1, with your TI-84 calculator, which I'm going to pull mine up as well, so that way you guys can see it. Just as a quick little review and practice of how we actually find them. So if you have log 84, it's assume that the base is 10, okay? So it's just assume it's 10. So you just hit log and then 84, enter, and that is your answer. Then you have ln 12, so you just hit the ln button, type in 12, close your parenthesis, and then enter. And then your very last one is log 1000. So then just type in 1000, close your parenthesis, and then enter. And so you should have these 3 answers, and you can just go ahead and write them down on your All right, so if you're done copying those down, you don't need to have them like all the way up here. I think like 2 decimal spaces is more than enough. So you can just round it up to 2 decimal spaces. All right, so let's now talk about the logarithms of other bases. So to be able to use a calculator to solve logs with base other than 10, okay, because the last 3 examples were all logs with 10, you're gonna have to use the change of base formula. And what I mean by that is, what if you have like a 4 there? Can't use your calculator because your calculator is with a base of 10. So what the heck do I do with that? Well, this is how you modify it, okay? So if you have, you know, write it here, log sub b, because you have little b here, of a like that, and b, let's say, is like 2 or 8 or other numbers besides 10. The way you rewrite this, and this is important to know, is you just split it. You do log a, that's always the top one, divided by log b, which is your small little number one, okay? And once you divide it, that's how you'll find the answer, okay? So for example 4, what you do is you can't just type log 40 into your calculator. You got to rewrite it. So you start with log 40 divided by log 3. And then once you divide the 2, that'll be your answer. So once again, let me grab my calculator. So for those of you guys on Zoom, this is kind of what we're doing, is we're going to go ahead and separate this. So then grab your calculator. And then with my calculator, I'm just going to type in log 40. Close your parenthesis, that's important. Divided by, and then hit log again, and then 3, and then close your parenthesis. If you don't close your parenthesis, it's going to include the log inside the parenthesis, which is going to mess it up, okay? And so then when you hit enter, that is your answer right there. So it's important that you know where the buttons are, how to use them. What is the last name? What letter? And if anybody needs like write a note or whatever, you need an extra copy, just let me know, you guys, so I can give you an extra copy. I have plenty of extra ones. All right, so let's go ahead and practice this with 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and go over 2 of them with you guys, and then I'm going to have you guys go over the rest by yourself. So let's go ahead and go over number 6. So for number 6, you'll do log 9 over log 11. And I'll do number 8. So for this one, you're going to do log 2/3. Okay, you're going to be very careful with the fraction. 2/3 over log 13. Okay, so now that you have that, you're just going to grab your calculator. And if I start off with log 9, so just put log 9, close your parenthesis, divided by log 11, close your parenthesis. Hit enter. Your answer for number 6 is 0.92. You can just round it up to 2 decimal places. Then for number 8, you have your log 2/3. So this is where your parenthesis comes in. So divide it by 2/3, then hit the division button, and then do log 13. And then close your parenthesis and hit enter. And those are your 2 answers. So on your test for the common district final, you will have questions like this. And if you don't know how to use that button or how to change this on your calculator, that will be a huge disadvantage for you, because this is not difficult. It's just that if you show up in class and you were here today to learn this information, then you know how to do it. And if you're not here today, then unfortunately you won't be able to do it. But that's why I video record everything, so that way you guys have that available. All right, so now that I did number 6 and 8 with you guys, go ahead and grab your calculator. You guys try number 5 and number 7. So give that a try on your own. You don't need to write it down. You know, just grab your calculator and just type it in, because it doesn't really, you know, it's not necessary for you to separate them. You already know what to do. Okay, if you guys are almost done with those, awesome. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to this part right here. So now we're gonna keep on using our calculators when we're adding logs, okay? So let me go ahead and go over a few with you guys, and then I'll have you guys find the rest of them. So I'm gonna go over, and let me find my highlighter here. Let's go over this one right here that I'm highlighting. Okay, so there's 4 questions. I will go over those 4. Okay, so for the first one, if you guys take a look at it, let me share this calculator with you guys. Let's move it over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do log 12. So just hit log and then 12. Close your parenthesis, plus log 2. Your answer is 1.38. That was pretty simple for the most part, right? Okay, so then let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Next one, you have log 21, close your parenthesis, minus log 7. Enter. 0.48. Pretty simple for the most part. Then on the very bottom, it says log 3. This is just assuming that the base is 10 because it doesn't have a number there, so you're assuming it's a 10. So you just put log 3, and it's 0.48. And then lastly, with the last 2, if you have a 3 log 4, you just hit the number 3, then hit log, and then 4, close your parenthesis, and then enter. So 1.81 is the next one. And the very last one, you just hit log 64, enter, and that is your answer. So now that I went over those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions with you, take the next couple of minutes and go ahead and answer the other ones. You don't need to go ahead and like separate them, just use your calculator. And then when you're done, just write down the decimals. That's all you have to do. All right, you guys. So if you guys would like to take a look at the answers of what you should have, I have those answers here, and let me just paste it right here for you guys. Where? All right, so here are your answers. So you can go ahead and take a look to see if you have similar answers. And again, you know, if you're just simply copying it down, that's great. But if you don't know how to use the buttons on your calculator, that's a huge issue, you know, so make sure you know, so that way you do well on the common district final. I don't know about you, but do you see the pattern here? You're like, why are these 3 exactly the same answer? Why are these 3 exactly the same answer? And why are these 4 exactly the same answer? I mean, like, are they all the same type of question, but just rewritten differently? And they are. And so that leads us to the next part, is that there are formulas of how to rewrite these. Even though they look different, they're actually the same equation. They're just written differently. So go over here to the little boxes. So we're going to go over like some of the different ways, the properties of how to go ahead and write for logs. Okay. So the first one you have is a product property. And for that product property, you have log sub A, B times C. Do you see how here it's like a times, it's a multiplication, times C? The multiplication translated to an addition if you separate them. Okay, so if I were to rewrite this, it will be log sub A B plus log sub A C. And that's how you will rewrite it. Similarly, if you have a multiplication, do you guys also see where the division is? So if multiplication gives you a plus, division gives you a subtraction. So if I were to have to rewrite this, it will be log base A B minus log base A C. And then similarly to this one, I'm just going to put like a little arrow on the side. This also applies to ln. So if you have ln, like 10 divided by x, for example, that's the same thing as ln 10 minus ln x. So you can go and use that property for ln as well. So the division, to separate it, you expand it, and you just put a minus. For addition or multiplication, when you expand it, it's just a plus. So everything that I'm highlighting right here in yellow, you can circle them if you want. I want you guys to write condensed. This is the shorthand way of writing that, okay? And then everything that I'm highlighting right here in orange, and I haven't given you guys this one yet, but I will. You want to write down expand, because that's the expanded form, like when you separate it and you make it look bigger, okay? So for the very last one, which is going to be power property, you see how the power has a C right there? You just take that and put it on the left side of it. So you have C log base A B. I know it's a little weird. You just put it in the front of the log. All right, so then let's go ahead and practice as you guys expanding. Okay, so use the property logarithm to rewrite an expanded form. So when I see expanded form, that means multiplication, you change it to a plus. Division, you change it to a minus. And if you have an exponent, you move it over to the front of it. Okay, so I'm going to go over questions number 3, and I'll go over number 4. So let's take a look at number 3. For number 3, do you see how there is an exponent? So that just go in the front. So it's equal to 4 log base 8 x. And that's it. That's how you rewrite it in expanded form. For number 4, if you guys take a look at this one's a little bit hidden. You see how there's a square root right there? So you first have to rewrite this from exponential form or radical form to exponential form. So I'm going to rewrite it to log base 4. And you have a t right there. And remember with the t, it's always the power divided by the root. So your power is a 2 and your root is a 3. So we learn how to do that like in the beginning of this class. But that's not your answer, because you have to take that power, put it in front of the log. So your actual answer is 2/3 log base 4 t. And that's your answer right there. I know it's a little bit weird. Let's take a look at number 6. Number 6 is a kind of a difficult one as well, but it's not difficult once you see it, okay? So the reason why this one's difficult is there's like an A and a B, and they're all tackled together. But I do know that it's A times B. So if it's a times, you know there's going to be an expanded to a plus, right? And then also what I notice is that, do you see how there's the 1/2? That's a power. That power needs to go ahead of the log. And then also the 5 is a power. That needs to go ahead of the log as well. So let's first expand it first with a plus. So if I were to separate this, I have log base 2 4a to the 1/2 plus log base a b to the 5th. And then from here, do you see how it's also like a 4 times a? So technically what you can do is you can change that multiplication to a plus. So I'm actually going to change this a little bit. So I'll have log base 2 4 plus log base 2 a to the 1/2. So really there's 1, 2, and 3 different little separations there. Okay. And once you have that, you want to take a look at the exponent, because that exponent can go ahead of the log. So you're going to take that 1/2, put it ahead of the log, take that 5, put it ahead of the log, and then your actual answer in expanded form is log base 2 4. That's the first one, plus 1/2 log base 2 a plus, move the 5 over, 5 log base 2 b. And that right there, you guys, is going to be your full answer. And that's why number 6 was a little bit complicated, and I want to go over it with you guys because it requires a lot of expanding. And after you do this for a while, you should realize, like, let's take a look at number 8. Okay, so for number 8, rather than writing all those steps, I'm just going to say, what do I notice about number 8 that I can probably just expand? And let me go ahead and bring this on to another PowerPoint so that way it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so for number 8, if you take a look at this, you're like, all right, I already see that there is a multiplication, so I'm going to change that to a plus. I already see that there is a multiplication here, so I'm going to change that to a plus. So those are the 2 things I see. Another thing that I see is a division. Do you see the division bar right here? So I'm going to change that to a minus. So you're like, all right, so what do I do first? Do I do the multiplication first, or do I do the division first? Well, in this situation, you want to go ahead and do the division first. So I'm going to start off with the division. Okay, so I have log xy minus the bottom part, log 3z. And then from there, I'm going to start working on the multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to separate these 2. First one I have is log x plus log y. Don't forget your minus. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second part right here. Log 3 plus, but because there's a minus right here, you guys, this becomes a minus as well because you have to distribute it, okay? Minus log z. And boys and girls, that is your answer. So after a while, you don't have to rewrite everything. You just need to see those things and then just write it directly. So now that we went over a few of the questions here, you should have a pretty good understanding of how to do this. So I'm going to have you guys go back and work on the following blue ones. So 1, 2, 5, and 7. So you guys work on 1, 2, 5, and 7, and then I'll go over the answer with you guys. I'll show you guys the answer in a couple of minutes. If you would like to go ahead and check your answers, I have them right there for 1 to 8. You can see if your answer is similar to mine. If you're like, you're going a little bit fast, I'm sorry. I don't mean to go fast, but I just want to have make sure that we complete everything. But you'll have a video of this on Zoom or on the YouTube channel, and I'm sure people are watching this at home going like, you're going way too slow. You need to hurry up. So yeah, you'll have access to that as well. All right, let's go to the last part. We're almost done, you guys. I know this is like, this is kind of like critical thinking, hard stuff. All right, so now that we expanded, we're gonna do opposite of expanding, which is condensing, okay? So condensed form. So I'm gonna take the really, really expanded form and make it smaller into a single logarithm. So when you guys are doing the condensing, there's no fractional, no negative exponents in the final answer. So those are the two different conditions, okay? So we're on number 9 to 15. All right, so let's take a look at number 10. So for number 10, do you guys see how there's a minus sign right there? So automatically you're like, okay, are the bases the same? It's 4. Yes, it is. Both have a base of 4. So then let's go ahead and put from a minus to a division. So I'll just have log 4. Here's my division. Z goes on top, Y is on the bottom. And that's your answer for that. Let's take a look at number 12. Number 12, you have a -3. That's an exponent, right? So I'm going to take that -3 and put it up here. So then I'll have log base 5x to the -5th power. But then remember I said that there is no exponents, no negative exponents. So then what you do is you can actually bring that x to the -5 down to the bottom. So then you just have log base 5. 1 goes on top, x to the +5 on the bottom. That's your answer for number 12. So you just have to be a little bit creative in the way that you do things. Okay, now we're going to compact everything together. Okay, so let's take a look at number 14. For number 14, I see there's a 1/3 in front of that. So automatically I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to take this 1/3, put it right here as an exponent to the 5 and then to the x. But then I also notice that there is a plus sign, so I have to make that into a multiplication. So let's give this a try. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 1/3 back over to the exponent. So I will have log base 3, 5, the 1/3 plus log base 3x to the 1/3. So that's my first step. Then I don't want to have this in an exponent, so you will have to rewrite this from exponential form to radical form. Okay, so when I rewrite this, it's going to be log base 3, 5. Here's my radical. Power is 1, root is 3. Plus log base 3, here's my x, power is 1, root is 3. And your very, very last step is condensing it from that plus to a multiplication. So my answer for this is log base 3 cube root, but it's 5 times x, like that. I know it's a little bit weird. So yeah, the practice working with that. All right, and the very last one that I have is number 15. So for number 15, this one requires a little bit of work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show it to you guys on the side over here on a new PowerPoint slide, so you can see a little bit better, hopefully. Okay, so for number 15, this one requires a bit of work. I see that this 3 needs to go over here, this 2 needs to go over here, and I also see that I need to change that plus to a multiply and that minus to a division. Okay, so those are the things I'm thinking. So let's go ahead and just try to do all of this at once. I know the base is log 4. Do you guys see the base log 4? So log 4 is my one base, okay? And then I know the division is going to be right here. On top of the division is a multiplication, and it's going to be x to the 3rd times y squared. Do you see how I just like swooped it up into one? And then on the bottom is going to be the z, so it's just going to be like that. And that's it. So you're going to have that kind of practice identifying things like that. So that way you can go ahead and expand it and then reverse it. All right, so now that I went over these questions here with you guys, I'm going to have you guys work on the one that's highlighted in blue. So 9, 11, 13, just those 3 on your own. All right, so let's take a look at the answers that you guys have here. Here are my answers. Yours could be similar to that. And again, it's just the first 3 questions that you guys went over. For the last 10 minutes of your class, I have some practice for you guys to work on. That's where your color paper comes in. So grab your cell phones and then grab your iPad if you need it. And you're going to join me on a quiz is. And it's going to be 15 questions, multiple choice. And then you could just show your work on the color paper and then just turn that color paper in. So go to joinmyquiz.com. and then insert the code 504284, and then finish this up for the last 11 minutes of class. So just join myquiz.com 504284. And some of you guys already logged on, so I'm just gonna have you guys start it so you can get started on this. So all you're doing is the same practice, expanding and condensing with logs. So Hugo, you're already in, you're a superstar. And so for my friends on Zoom, that's basically it for today. So as long as you guys complete that, you're good to go. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.